Good morning and welcome to the Public Safety Committee. I'm Chair Tom Amiato, and I apologize for being a few minutes late. I have some housekeeping matters to attend to, things that are off calendar. Item number 1, AB 161 Ang was pulled by the author. Item number 3, AB 281 Gurel was pulled by the author. Item number 10, AB 452 Ma was pulled by the author. Item 15, AB 757 Blumenfield was pulled by the author. And number 18, AB 1022, Mr. Fletcher was pulled by the author. I guess we're very intimidating or something, huh? Please, also, I'd like to introduce our new staff counsel, Sanday Uribe. Good morning and welcome. Okay. And now I have the consent calendar. Item number 6, AB 364, Bonilla. AB 396, item number 7, Mitchell, Medi-Cal Juvenile Detention. AB 426, item number 8, Lowenthal, Transit Fare Evasion. Item number 9, AB 434, Logue, County Penalties, Forensic Laboratories. And item number 16, AB 765, Achadian, Crimes. And we have a quorum, so if we could call the roll, please.
Amiano, Knight, Cedillo. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
It's in the middle. Hagman. Here. Hill. Here. Mitchell. Here. Skinner. Do you want to do the consent calendar?
All right, and if we... Thank you. Excellent. Roll call.
Amiano.
Aye.
Amiano, aye. Knight.
Aye.
Knight, aye. Cedillo. Hagman.
Aye.
Hagman, aye. Hill.
Aye.
Hill, aye. Mitchell. Aye. Mitchell, aye. Skinner. It's out.
Okay, it's out. And in order of sign-up, we have Assemblywoman Carter. Welcome. Item number 4, AB 316. And this right, yeah. Okay. Ms. Carter.
Chair and members, thank you for the opportunity to present Assembly Bill 316. I want to thank the chair and the committee for the assistance on this bill, and I accept the committee amendment. AB 316 would amend, excuse me, current law to clarify stolen copper material exceeding $250 as grand theft. Current law does not include copper as one of the materials. As of January 2011, scrap metal prices rose to a high as $9,000 per ton. 2 weeks ago, the San Bernardino Sun reported that metal thieves damaged 62 air conditioning units from 3 schools, resulting into $500,000 in damages. This bill will strengthen the enforcement of AB 844 from the 2007-8 session, which required recycling companies to hold the check for 3 days and take thumbprints of anyone selling scrap material. AB 316 would combat metal theft to help our farmers, our schools, our homes, utilities, and businesses protect their assets. I have with me today in support Lieutenant Barbara Ferguson from the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, as well as Andrea Fox from the California Farm Bureau, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members. Lieutenant Barbara Ferguson, San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, asking for your support on this very important legislation. Metal theft is on the rise again because the price of metal is increasing, and it really does take a toll on our patrol. And right now, with having to tighten up our budgets and everything, we really do need the support of this legislation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next witness.
Good morning, Andrea Fox with the California Farm Bureau. As
Ms. Ferguson said, it is on the rise. It's rampant in California, especially for rural Californians, such as farmers and ranchers, who by the very nature of the location of their properties tend to be preyed upon most often, where there are not the watchful eyes of neighbors or the patrolling of officers. The damage is very costly. One irrigation pump can cost from $3,000 to $10,000 after a thief has torn it apart, ripping out all the copper wire and the copper leads. The damage, that's just the beginning of the damage. It can also impact the crops. This is an important measure. We ask that you vote aye on it. Thank you.
Thank you both very much. Are there any other witnesses in support? Are there any witnesses in opposition? The bill has been moved by Mr. Hill. Seconded by Ms. Mitchell. Witness in opposition?
Mr. Chairman and members, Francisco Labaca on behalf of the American Civil Liberties Union. We first appreciate the amendments eliminating the constitutional concerns with the original legislation. Now what's left, of course, is that it begins to undo the chair's legislation from last year, which in fact raised the petty threshold from $400 to $950 to take account the inflationary rate and the lack of increasing the threshold between petty and grand theft that hadn't been raised for close to 30 years. So I guess what the legislation does now is starts to make exceptions to that, which in fact will increase the number of folks who are being sent to prison for what was previously petty theft, now becomes a felony. If I recall, the savings to the corrections budget estimated by the Department of Corrections by an enactment of the legislation that the legislature passed and the governor signed last year was in the close to $30-some million per year. So if we're going to go down this route, not a good idea. We're opposed.
All right, any other, thanks for the walk down Nostalgia Lane. Any other comments? Ms. Carter, I really thank you for bringing this bill forward. As you know, there are phenomena that occur that no one can really foresee. That's why we're here, to try to modulate that, make legislation reflect things that happen in the past oftentimes do become challenged because of phenomena. Who thought that people were going to be making a living ripping off school district solar panels and copper? And it is a very serious crime in your area particularly, and it really does affect the quality of life for a lot of people, especially those who are most disenfranchised. So given that, we've made dollar exceptions before for various livestock and agricultural products, and given the unique situation about copper theft, to me it makes sense that copper be included. I am grateful for your taking the amendments and working with the staff, and I'm happy to support your bill and recommend an aye vote to my colleagues. Mr. Hagman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I've witnessed this firsthand for our city too. It's a great bit of problems. This technical question: when someone sells their stolen copper, either wires, wherever they get, are we counting that value based on the value of the sell site or the actual damage done? Because the replacement cost far exceeds any of the costs that you get for the actual metal when you turn it in too, for the replacement of the infrastructure, wires, and stuff. I'm just wondering how that works as a crime.
Whenever we take a crime report after we've responded to a metal theft, we value it at their loss. So whatever they paid for the material, that's what the loss is.
Do you have to distinguish that the person who's selling this stuff at the scrapyard is actually the guy who tore it out of the ground or ripped apart the pump? If there's a distinguish between a third party who, one guy may steal it, the next and pass it on to the other guy for selling it, is there a distinction between there and all?
Well, you've got the grand theft. That would be the actual theft of it. And then you have possession of stolen property, which are two different penal code violations.
And that's the value of the actual damage done, not the value of the copper.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, may we have a roll call, please?
Armiano?
Aye.
Armiano, aye. Knight? Aye. Knight, aye. Cedillo? Hagman? Aye. Hagman, aye. Hill? Aye. Hill, aye. Mitchell? Aye. Mitchell, aye. Skinner. That bill's out.
All right, that bill is out. Congratulations, Mrs. Carter.
Thank you.
And next up is Mr. Swanson. Number 17, AB 799.
Good to see you.
Okay.
Chairman, members of the committee, thank you so much. First of all, we are prepared to accept the amendment that requires the district attorney of Alameda County to submit a report to the legislature that includes the number of minors who were diverted through the program and the type of treatment that they received. So that's the amendment that we're prepared to accept. I'm here this morning in support of AB 799, an important but simple bill that would have no financial impact on the state of California. To the extent the sunset date is now approaching, we would like the pilot to be extended in Alameda County. AB 799 will change the repeal date from January 1, 2012 to January 1, 2017. A first-of-a-kind diversion program providing wraparound services to minors. My district, especially Oakland, is widely recognized as an epicenter for child sexual trafficking. AB 499 of 2008 opened a very important door for commercially exploited children in Alameda County, as well as other children trafficked from other communities and states into Oakland. As a result of the diversionary project,
Bill's moved.
thank you very much. I would have my witness self-introduce.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Michael Corbett from Suter, Wally, Corbett & Associates, representing the Alameda County Board of Supervisors. We're very strongly in support of this bill. We feel that Mr. Swanson's measure, as implemented, has started down the path to correcting some problems, as he indicated, that seem to be in extraordinary proportions in the city of Oakland. We think the program, because of its comprehensive nature, gets at the very root of the problem as it has existed and continues to exist, and we would hope that you would extend this bill to enable it to go forward and to become even more effective than it has been to date.
Thank you. Next witness.
Thank you. Dawn Kepke with McHugh and Associates on behalf of the Child Abuse Prevention Center, also in strong support.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Louis Brown on behalf of the California Probation, Parole, and Correctional Association and the California State Sheriff's Association, asking for an aye vote on the bill. Thank you.
Philip Ong on behalf of the California Coalition Against Sexual Assault. Our members are currently participating in the multidisciplinary partnerships that this program has created, and so we are in strong support of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members, good morning. Corey Salzillo on behalf of the California District Attorneys Association in support of the bill.
All right. Any other witnesses in support? Any witnesses in opposition? Is this support or opposition?
Support.
All right, sir. Just affiliation and position, please.
My name is Patrick Mims. I'm the Sexually Exploited Minors Program Coordinator, First Crisis Responder for CSEC Girls in Alameda County. I'm in support of this bill. We've just now, so to speak, built a village, and we're ready to operate. We have a diversion program in place, a safety net to follow the girls. We're understanding now that they're coming from different counties. So, yes, I do support. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Any other witnesses in support? Any in opposition? Last call. All right, any comments? Mr. Hagman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I did move the bill, and I thank your efforts, both locally for all your witnesses here, because I know it's a tough job bill that you have. And I also want to thank you for taking the amendments, because on these pilot programs, we do need to get the feedback so we can correct it and hopefully apply it in other areas. So thanks for taking those amendments as well.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Hagman. We have found that the positive nature of this bill is now spreading. I know that Senator Pavley asked for a pilot in Los Angeles. We're looking at San Francisco, and so California is sort of leading the way, and also it's developing a cooperative environment by the victims, and so it's making prosecution of those that would sexually exploit our children much easier because there is a rescue mission afoot, and the young people who have been exploited feel that they would get some help. And so this is a very positive approach.
Okay. Thank you. Was that your close?
That can be my close, Mr. Chairman.
All right. I appreciate your efforts, and you've been weighing in on this since you've been here, and that kind of commitment will see results. I did work in San Francisco with then AG Harris, Kamala Harris, on sanctuary for some of the human trafficking victims, a safe house, et cetera. This is a crucial issue, particularly in the Bay Area, and crosses all cultural lines.
That's right.
Right, so I would recommend an aye. If we could have a roll call, please.
Amiano?
Aye.
Amiano, aye. Knight? Knight, aye. Cedillo? Hagman? Hagman, aye. Hill? Hill, aye. Mitchell? Mitchell, aye. Skinner. That bill's out.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee.
Yeah, I think we should, exactly. All right, so why don't we do Mr. Hill, representing item 11. And Mr. Knight. Not this one. Right?
No,
not
number 13.
Number 13. Right.
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning.
And members, I'm pleased to present AB 545 on behalf of Speaker Perez. AB 545 brings conformity to existing laws governing domestic violence. Specifically, this bill adds an offender's fiancé and a person with whom the offender currently has or previously had a dating relationship to the list of victims that qualify under the felony domestic violence statute. Under current domestic violence laws, there is an incongruity with respect to who qualifies as a victim. Two groups of victims which are included in the misdemeanor statute are erroneously excluded from the felony statute. These two groups are fiancés and current or former dating partners. This lack of uniformity among the felony and misdemeanor statutes results in a large group of domestic violence offenders not being appropriately charged, convicted, and or sentenced. Instead, these individuals are charged with felony assault, which carries an inappropriate sentence for a domestic violence offender. The sentence is inappropriate because there are unique probation conditions for felony domestic violence offenders, including the defendant making payments to a domestic violence shelter up to a maximum of $5,000, and or the defendant reimbursing the victim for the reasonable costs of counseling and other expenses that the court finds are the direct result of the defendant's offense. Additionally, the defendant may receive enhanced penalties for multiple convictions within a 7-year period and be required to participate in a 1-year batterer's treatment program. There is no justifiable reason why these groups of victims should be excluded from the felony domestic violence statute when they are included in the misdemeanor statute. AB 545 corrects this flaw and ensures that these specific offenders will receive proper sentences for treatment and treatment for their crimes. I respectfully ask for your aye vote on this important domestic violence bill. With me to testify in support of AB 545 are Lieutenant Wayne Billowit of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and Dan Felizzato of the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office.
Mr. Chair, I'll move the bill too.
All right, the bill's been moved. Bill's been seconded. Author. All right, sir.
Mr. Chairman, members, Dan Felizzato on behalf of the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office. As the author stated, the inclusion of fiancés and individuals who have a dating relationship in the misdemeanor domestic violence statute, but not the felony domestic violence statute, doesn't make any sense to the prosecutors in our office. Getting individuals into the 52-week batterer's treatment program is essential to stop this type of activity. That is a condition of probation of domestic violence convictions, not battery convictions. Therefore, we ask for your support.
Thank you, sir. Next witness.
My name is Larry Doyle. I represent the Conference of California Bar Associations, a statewide organization of attorneys representing more than 25 regional, local, minority, and specialty bars in all areas of legal practice, including prosecutors and criminal defense attorneys, and we strongly support this bill. AB 545 is needed to make the law consistent and just. There really is no rational basis for denying the law's protection to one class of people who have legally formalized a relationship through marriage, domestic partnership, rental agreement, or bearing of children, while denying it to another class whose relationships are not casual and indeed may be of equal or longer duration. The arbitrariness of the current distinction is demonstrated by the fact that the current law does not protect a woman who is pregnant with the abuser's child but is not married or cohabiting with him. The bill is also needed to bring consistency to statutes. Finally, I note that since the offenders under the current law must be charged under a felony assault statute, really the impact, assuming conviction, is none in terms of the prison population, but it does deny the law's flexibility and the appropriateness of the remedies that are under the domestic violence statute.
Thank you so much. All right, any other witnesses in support? Name and affiliation.
Hi, I'm Heather Minton. I'm with the California Partnership to End Domestic Violence. We represent California's domestic violence shelters and service providers, and we're in support of this bill.
Thank you so much.
Philip Ong from the California Coalition Against Sexual Assault. We stand with our sister organization from the partnership in strong support.
Thank you.
Sergeant Bill Mulder with the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department, appearing on behalf of Sheriff Lee Baca, and we're in strong support of this bill. It's very important, I think, that this happens for domestic violence in California. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members. Danielle Higgs on behalf of the California State Sheriff's Association in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other witnesses in support? Any in opposition? All right, seeing none, Mr. Hill, if you'd like to close, the bill's been moved and seconded.
Mr. Yamiano, I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Mitchell.
I'm sorry. Just a quick question, clarifying question. Is dating relationship defined anywhere in code?
Is what relationship?
Dating relationship. Yes, I'm looking at the new language.
It's been a long time since
Subdivision
he's
A.
dated. That's right.
I'm just curious if dating relationship is defined anywhere in code, in that it's a term that's referenced here.
Yes, it is. It's both. The dating relationship is defined in Penal Code Section 243F. Is also defined in case law, People v. Usher, 2007, 155, Cal App 4, 1311.
And it's defined as?
I do not.
Okay, that's fine. But thanks for the code section. Thank you.
But it is defined as.
It is defined.
That's great.
If the link is not clear, the bill could be amended to make it more clear.
No, it was personal. I was curious. I wasn't sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Speaker Perez respectfully asks for your aye vote and would appreciate it.
All right, if we could have a roll call, please.
Amiano?
Aye.
Amiano, aye. Knight?
Aye.
Knight, aye. Cedillo? Hagman? Hagman, aye. Hill?
Aye.
Hill, aye. Mitchell? Aye. Mitchell, aye. Skinner, the bill's out.
All right, the bill is out. And
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Next, Mr. Knight for representing Mr. Gurrell. Sure. Yeah, no problem. This is item number 13, juvenile offenders.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I'm presenting a bill on behalf of our colleague, Assemblymember Gurrell. Assembly Bill 694 addresses an unintended consequence arising from penal code language relating to the conditions that would disqualify a juvenile from being committed to the Division of Juvenile Justice. Specifically, one condition is that the juvenile's most recent offense cannot be a 707B offense or a sex offense. This language creates a situation that incentivizes a juvenile or an attorney to advise a juvenile to willfully commit a non-707B offense or a non-sex offense in order to dodge placement in DJJ. Gaming the justice system in this way allows dangerous offenders to escape appropriate and necessary consequences. Assembly Bill 694 will address this problem by allowing the courts to consider the overall history or pattern of crime of an offender, rather than just the most recent offense which may not accurately indicate the level of containment and punishment that is warranted. This measure provides prosecutors and courts the tools they need to address cases involving serious offenders who put public safety at risk. I have Corey Salzillo with me today on behalf of the California District Attorney's Office to testify in support, as well as answer any questions the committee may have.
Thank you.
For I vote.
You may notice I'm not Corey Salzillo. I'm Rick Lukowitz on behalf of the California District Attorneys Association. I'm a supervising deputy district attorney in charge of a juvenile unit here in Sacramento County and co-chair of the CDA's Juvenile Justice Committee. This is an issue that very, very much affects prosecutors, juvenile prosecutors throughout the state. And while I'm very impressed with the analysis that the committee has been provided, I do take issue with the opposition by the California Public Defenders Association. And I think it's important that the members understand this bill will not have the effect that paragraph in your analysis indicates. The implication is that now a non-qualifying offense could land a young man or young woman into the Department of Juvenile Facilities. If that were the intention of some, hypothetically speaking, harebrained prosecutor and some harebrained judge went along with it, it could be done by way of violation of probation as the law now stands. Our concern is not that particular situation, because that situation, if there is going to be a mess up, for lack of a better term, can already occur. Our concern is other jurisdictions. If we, for instance, it's very clear that juvenile sex offenders, most of them, do not become sexual predators. So when we commit and convict a young man or young woman of a sex offense, they very often need treatment and they go to a specialized group home. Sometimes that doesn't work. Also, Sacramento, as is the case with many counties, do not have enough group homes to take care of those particular kids. So they go to a group home in another county. If they commit an offense in another county that is a non-qualifying offense, and that county goes ahead and convicts him of that offense, now he's non-qualified, even though he may get to the point where he becomes a danger and everybody realizes that. Okay. So there are unique situations that are occurring where the tools have been taken away from the prosecutors and the judges as an unintended consequence.
All right. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, I move the bill.
The bill has been moved. Are there any witnesses in support, further witnesses in support? All right, witnesses in opposition?
Good morning, Glenn Backus for...
Second the bill. All right, the bill's been moved and seconded.
Good morning, Glenn Backus for Books Not Bars, a campaign of the Ella Baker Center for Human Rights. I'll be brief. Books Not Bars supports complete realignment of DJJ to the counties, closure of the DJF facilities. We oppose this bill in that it expands the definition of who may go to DJJ. Furthermore, it undermines the basic tenet that justice should be proportionate to the crime before you, and that justice should be swift and address the current crime. And I'll leave it at that. We oppose the expansion of DJJ at this time. Thank you.
Further witness in opposition?
Actually, in support, Mr. Chair, members, Daniel Higgs on behalf of the California State Sheriff's Association and the California Probation, Parole, and Correctional Association in support for the reasons previously stated by the sponsor.
Thank you. Any other oppositions any other arguments in opposition?
Excuse me. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members. Ignacio Hernandez on behalf of the California Attorneys for Criminal Justice. I think I'll just associate my comments with Mr. Glenn Backus, and if there are any questions, I'll go ahead and answer them.
All right. Thank you so much.
Or opposed.
All right, so that's it for witnesses in support or opposition on this matter. All right, thank you, Mr. Knight. The bill has been moved and seconded. If you have a close.
I'd ask for an aye vote, and I will correct the record. I do have Corey with me.
Oh, all right, very well. Thank you so much. Mr. Knight, thank you for representing Mr. Gurel. Unfortunately, I do have very serious concerns about this bill, namely that SB 40 and the pending realignment proposal appear to be moving in the opposite direction. The policy goals are clear, to use DJJ as a last resort for young people who commit 707B and sex offenses, and reduce the use of DJJ, not expand it. So I am recommending a no vote on your bill and urge the committee to do the same. If we could have a roll call, please. AB 40. Item 13.
Amiano?
No.
Amiano, no. Knight?
Aye.
Knight, aye. Cedillo? Hagman? Aye. Hagman, aye. Hill? No. Hill, no. Mitchell? No. Mitchell, no. Skinner? No. Skinner, no. It's on call.
All right, the bill is on call, Mr. Knight. Thank you. And I see Ms. Torres, if you'd like to approach the bench. Item 12. And please begin.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members. Invasion of privacy is a horrible crime that can leave victims with emotional scars that range from embarrassment and anger to a deep loss of security or comfort while in public areas. People can fall prey in public places and private spaces, such as in-store dressing rooms and public bathrooms. Even worse, with today's technology, images of victims can easily be posted and distributed on the internet. And just to give you a quick example that we may all be very familiar with, I am not talking about the elementary school bully who might have had a mirror in their shoe and looked up their teacher's skirt. This is not the perk that I'm talking about. Yet, repeat offenders have little incentive to curb their behavior because they know little or nothing will be done to punish their crime. Assembly Bill 665 gives law enforcement agencies the ability to charge repeat offenders with a higher penalty. I will accept your amendment recommendations and want to take the opportunity to thank your staff for working with me on this very important issue in my district. With me today are Detective Mike Infocino and Sergeant Lombard from the Chino Police Department, who will provide testimony about the need of this bill.
All right, fine. Sir?
Yes, sir. Basically, the existing law needs to be updated. When it was written, when I first came in contact with this invasion of privacy, it's actually written for the old devices that you could like put a couple of mirrors in, like the periscope kind of things, and looking through a bathroom wall or looking through a bathroom stall. That's the old school, what we used to deal with. And with today's technology expanding the way it does, it's just to a point where, as Ms. Torres said, the victimization is now continuing on with the use of the internet and uploading of the victims' photos, many of whom are unaware that they've been victimized. There are countless videos on the internet. If you would Google upskirt or a man uses video up to skirt, you will see individuals bragging about how they were able to sneak up on people and film underneath their clothing, which is clearly activity that we wish to put a stop to. And so we want to increase the penalty for repeat offenders who continue to do this and then post such things on the internet. It's really just needs to be modernized. The law needs to be modernized.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Chair and members, Corey Salzillo on behalf of the California District Attorneys Association in support of the bill.
Thank you. Are there any other witnesses? I'm sorry, Mr. Knight.
Yes, I appreciate this bill. I think that the malls across America also have a huge problem with this, with the cameras in the bags on the escalators. Malls. And many of these new ways that these guys are figuring out of how to get these images and then put them on the internet. Some of these images are of girls that are 14 to 18 years old, and they put those on the internet. So I appreciate this bill. I'll move the bill.
All right, the bill's been moved. The bill's been seconded. Are there any further witnesses in support? Any witnesses in opposition? All right, seeing none, Ms. Torres, if you'd like to close, there is an aye recommendation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And once again, I want to reiterate the importance of this bill. We're not talking about the schoolyard bully. We're talking about high-definition cameras. And really, if your privates are on the Internet, do you want to be the victim that says, that is me on the Internet? It takes hundreds and hundreds of officers' time in order to prosecute, in order to find the perpetrators. So not every police agency has the luxury to do that. Fortunately, you know, the city of Chino is one of the top 100 best cities in the country, so their officers are not necessarily call chasers. They're very proactive in identifying crime. I respectfully ask for your support.
All right, thank you. Can you have a roll call, please?
Armiano?
Aye.
Armiano, aye. Knight?
Aye.
Knight, aye. Cedillo? Cedillo, aye. Hagman? Aye. Hagman, aye. Hill? Aye. Hill, aye. Mitchell? Aye. Mitchell, aye. Skinner? Skinner, aye. That bill's out.
All right, the bill is out. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And item number 2, AB 190, Mr. Wykowski has pulled his bill. I think, Mr. Knight, we have, that's it. And your witness? Oh, Mr. Hernandez. All right. Well, Mr. Knight's waiting for a witness, so why don't we wait for Mr. Hernandez? Sure. Okay. Yeah, Good morning.
Good morning.
This is item number 5. Assemblyman Herrera, if you'd like to present, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Hernandez, I'm so sorry.
Members, I present to you today AB 321. This bill addresses a growing problem among minors that allows law enforcement, the community, the media, and opinion leaders refer to as texting. Sexting is an imprecise term that refers to the sending of sexually explicit images via an electronic device, most commonly a cell phone. Members, the world around us is transforming as a result of a rapidly changing methods of communication. According to the CTIA Wireless Association, 152.7 billion texts are sent each month, and that's according to 2 years ago. Children are no less affected by this phenomenon, especially with the number of children who own cell phones significantly increasing in recent years. Approximately 40 to 75% of middle school students own cell phones, with even higher rates for high school students. With this trend, communities across the nation are finding that more and more children are engaging in sexting. According to a 2008 survey conducted by the National Campaign to Prevent Teen and Unplanned Pregnancy, 20% of teens between the ages of 13 and 19 sent nude images of themselves. That's 1 out of every 5 children. One of the main concerns with sexting is that it has become a form of relationship currency, where one person feels pressure to send these images in order to get closer to the other person. We are well aware of the dangers of sexting as policymakers. With a mere push of a button, these images can be disseminated to a wide and unknown audience within seconds, and it is impossible to undo. Ridicule, torment, teasing, and bullying commonly follow after these images are widely distributed. These problems are very real. 13-year-old Florida teen Hope Witzel made a snap decision to send her racy pictures to a crush of hers via cell phone. Her pictures were intercepted by someone else when he left his phone unattended. These pictures were forwarded to other boys at a local Florida middle school and high school. Hope was suspended, but upon returning to school, faced taunting and bullying. 2 weeks later, Hope hung herself in her bedroom. Her parents were the ones that found her body. Ohio teen Jesse Logan went through similar torment at school after a bad breakup with her ex-boyfriend, where he disseminated nude pictures of Jesse to other high school girls. Those pictures quickly went viral, and that's when the bullying started for Jesse at school. 2 months later, Jesse Logan hanged herself in her bedroom. She was 18 years of age. In both these incidents, the trauma was too great for them to deal with. AB 321 seeks to penalize individuals who maliciously disseminate sexually explicit electronic images of minors without his or her consent. Specifically, it would require those individuals to perform community service and undergo counseling, in addition to anything the court deems appropriate. Realizing the importance of raising awareness and educating our youth about dangers of sexting, AB 321 would also allow school districts to provide instruction relating to the consequence of texting. At this point, members, I encourage your vote.
Thank you. Bill's been moved. The bill's been seconded. Witnesses in support?
At this time, the individual we were depending on is not here.
Are there any witnesses in opposition?
Mr. Chairman and members, Francisco Labak on behalf of the American Civil Liberties Union. First, let me say we totally agree with the author that it's a good idea for schools to adopt curriculum to teach young people how to use telecommunications intelligently. This is a problem across the country. A lot of young people do foolish things, including sending nude photos of themselves to their boyfriends, girlfriends, or others. But we do think that this should be done through education, not threatening kids with criminal prosecutions. The existing child porn laws were not created with sexting, as it's determined now, in mind. The fact is that sending a nude photo of one to another can be a felony. Possessing a nude photo of another, young people, is currently a misdemeanor. Both those acts are registrable sex offenses for life. We do think that it's a problem, but we at the same time do think that this legislation should be used as a vehicle to try to clarify that those kind of activities should not be made felonies or misdemeanors. The only way this community service provision kicks into effect under this bill is you have to be found guilty of the underlying crime. So while we think it's a good idea to make sure these kids do the right thing, we don't think that necessarily engaging in silly, foolish acts when you're 16 and 17 years old should impact you for the rest of your life. So we would urge the author to consider those changes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, any other comments from the committee? Yes.
We had a couple bills here today where the utilization of electronics somehow creates a crime for other conduct. I don't know how that, the efficiency and effectiveness of the communication somehow enhances the conduct of the quote criminal activity. And so that's a question I have. I mean, if someone uses the U.S. Mail Service and does that, is that any greater or lesser a crime? How does it distinguish by the fact that they use a more effective medium? How does the kind of inherent criminality of this behavior change by the effectiveness of the medium?
All right, Mr. Hernandez, you want to respond?
Thank you very much. I appreciate the question, Assemblyman Cedillo. Undoubtedly, with the power of media today, and that's what we're trying to address, the change in media, particularly this social networking that's taking place today, it travels much faster. The messaging travels faster. The impact is greater. And in many ways, it's irreversible. Once it's out in cyberspace, it's out there. This particular bill does not speak to creating a new law in particular. The child pornography laws already covers and speaks to these crimes. This speaks to more specifically to addressing the changes in technology and specifically points out the damaging effect that that resides within minors having this level of communication and damaging effect. So it's really, this law is addressing the changes in the media and how these mediums are used, and in so much more of a powerful way, the damaging impact is much greater.
Well, then it seems to me that
is his mic on? Okay.
It seems arguably that then, if it's not an effort to create a new law, and that your focus is on the medium, then maybe liability should lie with the medium and not with young people engaged in activity that we don't support, that we think maybe would be reckless, could be harmful to them, but criminalizing them versus looking at how the medium is really the actor in terms of enhancing the danger to young people might be a different course. Why would you not choose that?
Well, the medium doesn't, with all due respect, the medium doesn't create the text, doesn't click on the image and press send. It's really the individuals, the users that are taking these actions with the use of the medium. So this bill seeks to provide counseling and discipline for the minors that are engaging in this behavior. There is federal funding that's been made available. This is a Melendez bill that made funding available to school districts that wish to utilize resources to provide education and counseling services to address this issue.
Mr. Knight?
Yeah, I support the bill. I'm not so sure that it's very clear. It already is in the statute that if you use any type of film or photography or hardware or anything that has to do with a computer, and basically a smartphone is a computer, to send or to have these types of images, that you're already in violation of this law. Correct?
Yeah. Someone trying to text us now because it's annoying. All right, thank you.
I think that's the difference of interpretation. This bill is supported by the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office. They do seek this clarification. The District Attorney's Office believes that this will enhance their ability to find cases favorably for the victims because Some phones aren't considered smartphones, but still have the capacity to send the images today. So because of the problems in defining the definitions of what phone complies with computer, PDA, smartphone, this would be helpful to district attorneys up and down the state in providing that clarification.
No, I appreciate it. And if there is some sort of loophole that is in court that somebody can get away with this, or somebody can is not charged for this penalty because of that loophole, then we'd like to close it up. So I appreciate that.
And that's the intent of this bill.
All right. Thank you. Was that your close?
Well, this bill would have the opportunity to turn the problem of sexting into an opportunity to educate and raise awareness in California. I would ask for an aye vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. And I'm sorry, Mr. Cedillo. Go ahead, please.
Does this have time added? Is there enhanced time? This is just a condition of probation.
No time added.
All right.
The recommendation of
aye. I see that you took the $1,000 fine out and left in the mandatory community service and counseling, and I do have some of the same general concerns that the opposition presented about treating sexting as pornography, and I do very much believe that educating young people about responsible communication is effective. From your remarks, I know that you have a sense of that as well, so I would urge you to continue working with youth advocates to craft a statute that will address the sexting issue without unintended consequences. So for today, I am recommending an aye vote. So if we can have a roll call, please.
Armiano?
Aye.
Armiano, aye. Knight? Knight, aye. Cedillo? Cedillo, aye. Hagman? Hagman, aye. Hill? Hill, aye. Mitchell?
Aye.
Mitchell, aye. Skinner? Skinner, aye. Bill's out.
All right, the bill is out. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for a very well formulated, formatted presentation as well. All right, Mr. Knight.
He has item number 14.
Item number 14, AB 708, crimes involving hidden recordings, statute of limitations.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Let's keep on with the same theme that we've been working with today. AB 708 provides that a criminal complaint may be filed within 1 year of the date a hidden recording device is discovered, not the actual date of the crime. There's a discrepancy in current law dealing with specific statute of limitations for hidden camera devices. Existing law establishes the statute of limitations for a criminal complaint to be filed is up to 1 year from the date of the crime, not the date of discovery. It is a misdemeanor to secretly videotape without consent any individual that is in a place where they expect reasonable privacy. This bill was brought to my attention after reading about a Sacramento County investigation where a man was accused of secretly videotaping individuals in his home where they would normally expect complete privacy. Unfortunately, for many of the victims, some of the recordings date back more than 1 year, outside the statute of limitations currently allowed for the prosecution of such crimes. AB 708 will address this issue by expanding the current statute of limitations for these crimes for providing that a criminal complaint may be filed within 1 year of the date on which a hidden recording is discovered. I'm honored to have Sacramento County District Attorney Jan Scully with me today to testify in support as well as answer any questions the committee might
Move
have.
the bill. Second.
All right, bill's been moved and seconded. Witnesses in support? Witness in support.
We're moving a little fast for me. Good morning. Yes, those who commit surreptitious video or other recording type crimes typically hide the evidence. The evidence, of course, is the recording itself. If the evidence is discovered, it is often revealed years later. We recently, as you heard, had a case here in Sacramento County where more than 4 different individuals were secretly videotaped. They were unclothed in bathrooms, and this occurred over a span of 20 years. By the time these recordings were discovered, the statute of limitations had expired. These victims were shocked by the discovery of these secret videotapes and, as you would suspect, felt violated, especially realizing their perpetrators saved those videotapes, labeled them for his viewing at any time he chose. They were also shocked that he could not be punished for these crimes. To compound the shock to the victims, the perpetrator was in a position of trust with each of them. Obviously, victims of these crimes feel the harm at discovery, even if the video is found more than a year after its recording. AB 708 will change the law to allow the filing of a criminal complaint within 1 year of the discovery of these secret recordings. This change will ensure that those who violate the privacy rights of others will be held accountable and that victims can receive justice regardless of when that illegal recording was made.
Thank you so much. Next witness in support.
Mr. Chair and members, Corey Salzillo on behalf of the California District Attorneys Association in support.
Mr. Chair and members of the committee, Daniel Higgs on behalf of the California State Sheriff's Association in support.
All right, any other witnesses in support? Any in opposition? All right, any questions, comments from committee members? All right, seeing none, Mr. Knight, would you like to close?
I see we have good bipartisan support. I ask for aye vote.
All right, and I do think you're correct in the assessment of hidden recordings. They're becoming more and more of a problem, especially as we addressed earlier in this hearing, and Mr. Cedillo also addressed about the changing, rapid morphing of technology and as it impacts on our present laws and how we resolve these things is going to be a challenge. This one's a little more simple, and I'm happy to support your bill and recommend an aye vote. If we could have a roll call, please.
Amiano.
Aye. Oh, sorry, Ms. Skinner.
I didn't have a chance to read the entire bill, and I just want to make sure that this bill, its primary thing is to change the statute of limitations. It doesn't change the
penalties.
Yeah.
Right. The consequences of the offense.
Yes,
that's correct.
Correct. All right. So I just wanted to express also that I appreciated Assemblymember Cedillo's the expressions he made previously about, just this as we struggle with trying to adapt to these new electronic technologies, that we're careful not to, go too far. But I think that this is appropriate.
Thank you. All right, roll call.
Amiano.
Aye.
Amiano, aye. Knight.
Aye.
Knight, aye. Cedillo.
Aye.
Cedillo, aye. Hagman. Hagman, aye. Hill. Hill, aye. Mitchell. Mitchell, aye. Skinner. Skinner, aye. We still have one on call. That bill's out.
All right, that bill is out, and we
Lift the call
do have lift the call.
on item 13.
Item 13. AB 694 Gurel.
Call the absentees.
Who?
Call the absentees.
Call the absentees.
Cedillo. Cedillo not voting. That. Would you make the
I
announcement?
won't say a broken clock, but
The bill fails 2 to 4.
And that's it.
That's it? Yes, a reconsideration without objection.
Cedillo, no.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, and this meeting is adjourned.